Hey guys, I'm back and we're gonna understand about these dimensions here a little bit. And got some other papers to show you, but like if you think of this, like if you've seen the previous videos and Earth and you're changing the form and at this time it's in negativity and people are being pulled to light. Okay, this dimension will be very small at this time, these because of the negativity to the total positive of heaven, the collapse in these. Inside these dimensions are dimensions of time. This is a wave of time in the sense of the vibration of the events that occurred. So it might have gone up and down over the time period. The different areas are on their own frequency, depending on the events. And like one example is that I've used over here, that I'll show you in a minute. But like I said, this is your current time. That's how you can look all the way to it's the record of the past, but you can also look all the way to the future in a sense, because it's generating an image of things to come. And from the beginning, God knew what was going to happen. That's how He knows everything is time still being formed. See, you got to have an understanding of some different aspects, but like I said, I'm trying to break this down to where everyone can understand this. The waves of time, it's the dimensions of time, okay? It's expansion and contraction. So the same as it's an overwhelming negativity, that's why I say that this is small now. I mean, this is like an accordion shape, if you want to think of that. So, we got this dimensional vibration too also that God's feeding off of. The expansion and contraction, it differs by Earth, the positive and negative balance in Earth, okay? The the collapse, when this does come all the way to the end, it's the emerging of the dimension of negative. It cleans all the positives to the negative sense, to where it wipes everything else, because Earth can be both, but right now it's a negative, and we're pulling into this dimension. Okay, it must be a falling away before there's a coming to, and that's why God said this. He knew this, okay? And then the angelic. See, you could think of this as a time period from the start, and down here, this section's the positive, and this would be the negative. And you could keep a record of time, and the line being the negative positive in that dimension, and you can see how it had changed. And it goes from the highest to the lowest. And then it could go back up high into the lowest, but right now we're at a high part, like time's rolling back up, and there's got to be a falling away before there is a coming to, the emerging of these dimensions back to our angelic state. And when you think about that, if you look at white light a little bit, you guys, ice crystals, droplets of water in the clouds diffuse white light from the sun. And then, so you know what happens? White light shows all the colors. So you know what happens when it's diffused, like in Russia, and you see white beaches and different places, like the Barents Sea, the northwest east, or the northwest coast of Russia. It's icy environment. So this changes. So think when that lattice is back up, okay, and we're in spiritual bodies, and that dimension merges, how things would be different if it turns everything white. So you think about that, and this is how we see here. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but basically there's some scales on the spectrum and distribution, like Newton said. Check that out. Okay, now I don't have time to go through all this with you guys because this would be a 50 video thing, but basically this is on some color and light, and maybe we could do this in a different one. But back to this. to bring spirits out. They must travel through all these dimensions. They stay stuck emerging that the wave destroying them if it's not done correctly. And I'm not going to go into too deep on everything, but when it gets stuck in here, if you're not bringing it all the way through, this is what opening up portals and doing all this stuff is. All these dimensions are basically here. It's just not drawn in the right perspective. I just stretched it out like this, but this is a sense to look at it. That's why we can always look at things from a different plane perspectives, different geometrical standpoints. Like I could draw this whole thing circle in a sense. And I can merge these together and give you a different idea from it. And we would get a different perspective, but the same idea. And okay, that's what they're doing, is some people open up portals and different stuff. The way I talked about how the spirit stacked. And we'll get back to finishing that. You've got the minors and the major ones and your current one, okay? And you've got constant, like even if these spirits were vanished and they don't exist no more, their impression's still in this matrix, this record, okay? In between. So they can be, that's what some try to do to recreate the spirit, to bring it back. It's to try to draw energy, and then you'd have to focus it, and you'd have to travel yourself in through those dimensions of time, or the energy, to feed it to there, and reform that being, or whatever it be, and bring it back out. So if they're in there, and you've got some that are still there, and see they get pulled back their dimension of time in a sense, and they're there. So there they sat. So that's one perspective of thinking about going in and pulling spirits out. And things like that. We got, see, I mean, you guys, God knows we're His children, and His vibration, that's how He knows where we are in time, and the vibration. And everything. He knew from the beginning, you guys, because when we were in that angelic realm, that was the vibration. And one thing, like, if a spirit or anything, since this is past time, anything, whatever it be, enters into this that's not supposed to be in this dimension, it causes it as an irregularity, which will give it only so much time before, because you're going to expand and contract and change things, and it's over top of something that's already written. And what it's going to do is basically destroy those elements. So there's like a time period to be in that vibration. And like I said, each vibration would be that tune. So to each dimension, or each era of time, however you wanted to break it up, like these are thick lines, it would be broke down beyond craziness to be able to explain things to every standpoint of what happened in the world and the layout. That's why it's easier to just say the vibration, and it is a vibration, because everything is a vibration. So we got that, you guys. I wanted to put it back up here. Leave those ones out. And we left off on the one talk about the left and the right brain experiences, and we'll be able to get into it a little bit. But the sin, it causes you to build the spirit stronger, right? It combining it into the thought process developed or co-operated by evil spirits into one head, put into your head. The more offices you possess, the more aspects they control in your life. When you sin, spirits are both strong. They possess the ability to leave plus return in a way that you, being in a certain spirit, can leave on an impression of them, of temptation of the spirit. You also activate other people who possess the same spirits. It's a united meet or corporation of identical spirits of evil working to flesh people, and they start using this like puppets. And the place where it dwells, and Satan in this way can control you through his heads. And we'll get on this one in the next one.